This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial endowment expert, Harold Siegel, also known as we tape on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2017, at approximately 8:37 in the morning, Harold O. Siegel with Randy O. Marshall. Yes, happy St. Patrick's Day. It's a fun day, and we love green diamonds. That's one thing we can tell you for sure. Yes, happy St. Patrick's Day. And we do have an Irish blessing for all our outstanding radio listeners. May your troubles be less, your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness come through your door. That from Harold O. Siegel and Randy O. Marshall on March 17th, 2017, what a beautiful day it is in Canada as we celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Radio show runs on 6:30 CHED, Sunday afternoon at 3. Ever miss a show? They're archived on Harold's websites, rarecoloreddiamonds.com and HESradio.com. We have a podcast, too, through iTunes. All you need to do is go to iTunes and type in The World Financial Report on Radio. You will find us there. I was talking to a lady during the week, a friend of mine, who, when she does miss part of the show, she goes back and listens online on Harold's website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. You can, too. Featured diamond of the week from rarecoloreddiamonds.com is a 1.19 carat cushion cut, fancy, vivid, orange, yellow, internally flawless. See it online. Featured diamond of the week, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. During the week, Wednesday, the Fed met and they did increase rates in the United States by a quarter point. So now they are from 0.75 to 1%. They are a half a point ahead of Canada, 0.50 ahead of us. And we said that the Fed would raise rates. They're coming out and saying that they're going to raise rates 2 more times in 2017, and they will continue that in 2018 and 2019. Here in Canada, no word about any rate rise at all. In fact, if anything, they've talked about possible cuts, which could take us into negative interest rates. But Harold, what are your thoughts on the rate rise, and what do we need to do as investors as a result of the Fed in the United States raising rates, and Canada now a half a point below when it comes to interest rates of the United States?
Well, again, we knew that they were going to raise rates, and it was already built into the market, so some people were confused as to when they did raise rates, why did gold go up and why did the dollar drop off? It's just buy the rumor, sell the fact type of thing. The trend is certainly in, and there's no doubt that the trend is higher for the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar is the strongest currency. It will continue to get stronger and stronger. And the fact is that a trend that we definitely need to get involved in, because there's a tremendous amount of money to be made. You know, the fact is that the U.S. dollar is an amazing currency to trade, because the widespread, movements in that market can be actually quite severe. So there's a lot of money to be made in the U.S. dollar when you know what to do. At this particular point, let me just give you an indication as to what's happened in the U.S. dollar since we started trading gold. For example, in 1999-2000, we saw that the stock market in the United States, mostly the NASDAQ, plummeted. It dropped from 5,000 all the way down to 1,000. So during that time, there was a lot of volatility in the marketplace, but back in 1999-2000, the U.S. dollar was the strongest currency. It was trading at about the 112 to 115 level against other currencies. and 9/11 happened, and the U.S. started getting into trouble financially and going to war with Iraq and the war against terrorism and all that, and the U.S. dollar started to come down. And that's when we made our recommendation in gold at that point to buy gold heavily, because the U.S. dollar was going to start to come down substantially, in our opinion, and the market that would react strongest to that would be gold. There's a direct correlation between gold and the U.S. dollar. When the U.S. dollar is strong, like it was in back in 2000, gold is weak. Gold was at $250, and the U.S. dollar was pretty well the strongest currency. Then in 2000 and 2001, 9/11 happened. The U.S. dollar started to come down. Gold started to rise, and that was the biggest trend and the biggest bull market of all time. And I'm very proud to say that we were the leaders of that. We were the one that identified it. We are the ones that recommended it to our clients. We're the ones that told our clients to buy physical gold at that particular point, and it turned out to be the biggest bull market of all time. Gold went from $250 to $1,100 in 11 years, as the U.S. dollar went from $1.15 all the way down to 72 cents. So in 2011, the U.S. dollar was at 72.5 cents, and the gold market was at the highest price it's ever been at, which is at $1,920. So there's the correlation between gold and the U.S. dollar, and it's an extremely important one. But at 72.5 cents, things started to change, and all of a sudden, gold came down because it was manipulated down at that point there. The U.S. was just coming out of 2008, 9, and 10 type of thing, and the markets were extremely volatile, and it was probably one of the worst financial times in the United States. At that particular point, they started to right the ship. So at that point, certain things happened, and the U.S. dollar in 2011 bottomed out at 72.5 cents. By 2012, in April, it was up to 83 cents. And then that trend started. So we saw a 10-cent increase in the price of the U.S. dollar from 2011 to 2012. That's a gigantic move. It's a huge move. We saw it coming. And the fact is that a lot of our clients made fortunes in the market at that particular point. Now, gold is now starting to come down. It went from 1,920 all the way down to 1,050, and now the U.S. dollar started to move higher. April of 2012, the U.S. dollar was at 83.62. By 2015, the market was now up to 91.73. So at that point, we have seen a 20-cent increase pretty well in the price of the U.S. dollar, and gold was down to around 1,000 at that particular point. Then we saw by 2016, in January, the U.S. dollar was now up to $1.90, so it just broke par at that particular point. It stayed in and around that range, and now in 2017, January of 2017, the U.S. dollar was all the way up at 102. So between 2011 and 2017, in that 6-year period, we saw the U.S. dollar increase by 30 cents, one of the biggest currency moves I've ever seen. So what this actually proves is that the U.S. dollar can plummet depending on what's happening financially in the United States and around the world, and then it could rally stronger than almost any other currency. We've seen in history massive moves in the currency markets. Don't forget, in 2016, in 1 hour, we saw the British pound drop 25%. So the currency markets are extremely important. There's an opportunity to make a fortune of money in it if you know what you're doing. We're not talking about going into the futures markets. We're not talking about going into anything leveraged. We're talking about just getting out of a weak currency like the Canadian dollar, which is going to continue to fall and get your assets into U.S. dollars, which could go to 115 to 120. We cannot miss that move. That move will make us a fortune of money without taking any risk whatsoever. All you have to do, if you just wanted to be totally conservative and not do anything else, just take whatever Canadian dollars that you have in reserve and put it into U.S. dollars. You're going to pay right now about right now about $1,350 for every $1,000 American. So you're going to take that type of loss, but we anticipate that the price of the U.S. dollar is just going to skyrocket. On top of that, we have a couple investments that are private investments that our Canadian clients partner with us on, and those investments are making over 25% a year, and they're in U.S. dollars. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I'll certainly let you know what our private investment programs are, how you can get involved, and how you can make over 25% a year plus what the currency is making. Now, also what we're seeing at this particular time, which may be a little bit confusing for people, is the fact that gold is not dropping off when the U.S. dollar was going higher. There's only been one other time in history that this has happened, and it was in 1980. That's when gold hit its all-time high of $800 an ounce, and it was at a time when interest rates were at 14%, and then it jumped to 20%. In fact, interest rates jumped all the way to 22% in 1981-82. But we had a phenomenon at that point because you actually had the U.S. dollar at a very high level, and then you also had gold at an extremely high level, and interest rates were going higher. There's only been one instance in the world at any time that has happened, and that was in 1980 when you both saw a rally in gold and the U.S. dollar at the same time. And the fact is that is the only time that that's happened. Every other time you've seen that the dollar, when it's strong, gold is weak, and vice versa. When the U.S. dollar is weak, gold is strong. I believe at this particular point that we are looking at a time where gold is holding in very strong in spite of a very strong U.S. dollar and foreign currencies around the world plummeting. So what it's telling me is that where gold should be down right now to about $1,000 and is sitting at $1,220, that gold has got some strength to it. And the fact is that gold could rally. And one of the reasons for that is the fact that there's other situations around the world that are concerning, and one of them that I'm paying a lot of attention to right now is North Korea. North Korea is a disaster just waiting to happen. They've got one of the largest armies in the world, over 1 million people in their army, and they are at this point actually starting to test some of their ballistic missiles. Now, the problem is that Donald Trump, President Trump, is not one to back down from this. Donald Trump is the type of person that will attack. In actual fact, what Donald Trump is doing at this point, he's going to increase the military spending and all that, the budget, by a tremendous amount. So my gut feeling is that the first country that we're going to attack is going to be North Korea. I think that that's going to be obviously a horrible situation. It's the last thing in the world that we want to see happen. But if that does happen, in order to protect the United States Air Force bases in South Korea and in Japan and the relationship that we have with those countries, the fact is that you could actually see a strong U.S. dollar and you could actually see gold rally if that does happen. So we're going to monitor that situation very closely. And the fact is that right now where gold should be trading at about $1,000, there's about a $220 premium built into the price of gold right now. And I think that that's very important that we consider that and not just poo-poo it, because the fact is that we could literally get a rally in both the U.S. dollar and in gold if this does happen. And in my opinion, it's something that we need to monitor very, very closely. So all in all, at this point here, again, the biggest thing that I look to do, I'm not a day trader, not looking to pick minor trends in a market. When we make a recommendation, it's for the potential to make a fortune in the market, just like we did with gold from $250 to $1,100, silver from $3.80 all the way up to $50, $18 oil all the way up to $150, and the moves that we made in the currencies. So we're not taking risks. We're not speculating. We are not leveraging. We're not financing. We want to own everything that we own. When you make an investment with me in U.S. dollars, you own a hard asset. You own and are partners with me in investments that my company makes privately. So again, if you're not doing well, and most people aren't, because the fact is that interest rates in Canada are at 0.5%, and what Randy just said was 100% true. Canada is going to go into negative interest rates. That means that you're going to keep your money in the bank, and instead of the bank paying you interest, you're going to pay the bank. That's when you're going to notice that your life is going to change financially. We don't want to be at that point and then just start dealing with it. You need to give me a call so I can explain to you how to get out of Canadian dollar-based investments, get into U.S. dollar-based investments, and start to make the money that you're supposed to be making. Because if you just sit there and don't do anything like the people did in Britain when Brexit happened, you're going to lose most of your money. The Canadian dollar is going to drop into the 60-cent level, as the U.S. dollar is going to go to 115, maybe 120. Why in the world would we not want to take advantage of that? So, again, give me a call. I'll spend as much time with you. I speak to at least 30 to 40 clients a week. So please, I put this time aside for you. If you don't understand exactly what I'm talking about, don't be embarrassed about that. Give me a call. I'll sit down with you over the phone and explain everything, and you'll have all the information you need to make an intelligent and informed business decision. But the fact is that we got a major rally coming in the U.S. dollar. We've got a major decline coming in the Canadian dollar, and if you just sit there and let that happen, that's going to affect you tremendously, and you'll look back at this and say, this is something that I should have taken care of. So, again, this radio show has been on for going on 17 years now that Randy and I have been together. It's a pleasure to do this radio show every single week. Randy and I take it very, very seriously. We don't charge for the radio show or seminars or newsletters or anything. We want our clients to get the information they need so they can make an informed and intelligent decision. And I'll tell you, there's opportunities to make money in the market at this point like we've never seen before. It's just not the same type of markets that you may have been comfortable with, growing up. The stock market is not the place for most people. 90% of the people that trade stocks lose their money. So why would we want to do that? Right now, we got a major trend coming in the U.S. dollar. We got a trend coming on the downside in the Canadian dollar. Those are two areas alone that will make a ton of money. And then again, we're watching for the signs that gold could take off. Now, gold could take off and silver could basically not do as much, because at this particular point, I think that if we did go to war with North Korea, it would be a severe situation, one of the worst possible scenarios that we could look at. But again, I know Donald Trump. I've done business with him. I've sat on the same boards with him. I played golf at his club. I know the type of man this guy is. He doesn't back down from confrontation at any time. And if he feels that this is something that he needs to do, his ego is going to make him do that. So before this all happens, you need to contact me. We need to rearrange some of your investments. One thing you should look at, I know this goes against what everybody has talked about, but retirement savings plans in Canada is not going to make you a penny. Most people have not made money in a retirement savings plan in a decade. Many of my clients have liquidated their retirement savings plans, put their money into private investments with us, and are making money hand over fist. You need to call me, and so we can discuss doing a similar situation. You need to get out of Canadian dollars at this point and put your money into a much stronger currency that will make you a ton of money.
Speak with Harold Siegel, personally, privately, 1-800-432-1022. Mark this telephone number down. Give Harold a call, 1-800-432-1022, and you will be speaking with Harold. People are very surprised. Yes, you will speak with Harold. As he said, he speaks with 40, 50 people a week. He'd be happy to speak with you. Connect with Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. Our featured diamond of the week, and we'll talk about diamonds in the second half of the show. You can see this diamond online, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1.19, so it's a 1.19 carat cushion cut, fancy, vivid, orange, yellow, internally flawless. This is a beautiful diamond, a museum piece. See it online, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. As we mentioned, the Fed raised interest rates in the United States to 1%. They are 0.5% ahead of Canada. And one of the warnings that came out this week was from David Rosenberg, Gluskin chief economist out of Toronto, warning against going long the TSX or the Canadian dollar ahead of the Canadian budget, March 22nd, the federal budget. In a note to clients Monday, Rosenberg says it promises to be a tax grab budget with expectations of changing of the capital gains tax rate. Capital gains taxes ostensibly are a key source of revenue generated for the Liberal Party. It's a given, he wrote. The capital gains tax was first introduced in 1972 by then former Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. Back then, the government taxed 75% of equity gains. That number has since been reduced. Currently, half of all capital gains are taxed, which has been the case since the year 2000. And Rosenberg is concerned that that could have an impact on the Canadian dollar and the TSX. Rosenberg coming out this week, very concerned about the stock markets of the world. And he had 10 classic signs showing the stock markets are bubbling. And here are the 10. You can get them in our free weekly newsletter if you'd like to delve further. Get our newsletter from Herald, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. Valuations are stretched by most measures. They include the Shiller price to earnings ratio, which has been this high only during the dot-com bubble of 2000 and the 1929 market crash. However, it's not a reliable indicator of market tops. Leverage is extended. Margin debt, or the dollar volume of stocks bought with borrowed money, surged just before the U.S. election to a record high. Retail investors are suddenly rushing to buy. Following 8 years of net outflows, they poured nearly $80 billion into mutual funds and ETFs in the post-election rally. This year, however, corporate insiders have been selling at the fastest pace in nearly 30 years. The technicals are vulnerable. From Monday through Thursday last week, the number of stocks making 52-week lows surpassed new highs. It was the longest streak since November 4 and was a sign of a toppy market. Also, the S&P 500 has traded as much as 10% above its 200-day moving average. Investors are complacent, and it seems like the calm before the storm. The Chicago Board Options Exchange Volatility Index, the VIX, remains very and unusually low. The Fed is raising interest rates, and that is not a good sign for the stock market as well. Inflation is picking up. The gap between economic growth and sentiment is large. Households have over-ownership of the stock market, which their exposure to the stock market is 42% above the norm, and credit markets are frothy. The compensation investors demand for choosing risky U.S. high-yield bonds over risk-free assets, the premium is widening. So those are the 10 reasons why David Rosenberg believes that the stock market is bubbling. Does not mean it can't go up further. It could go up further for quite some time. But if you'd like to look at this, get our free weekly newsletter. Connect with Harold at 1-800-432-1022. We're going to come back and talk about diamonds. As the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2017. Our time is 9:02 Mountain. Hope you had a great St. Patrick's Day Friday, and for some people, I would imagine it could be a St. Patrick's Day weekend. Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. 1-800-432-1022. rarecoloreddiamonds.com is the website. And Harold has programs, private programs, where you can be investing and making money today. And if you'd like to find out more, connect with him, 1-800-432-1022. Our featured diamond of the week is a 1.19 carat cushion cut, fancy, vivid orange, yellow, internally flawless. And this diamond is absolutely gorgeous. The cut on it is beautiful. It really is nature's art, a museum piece. You can see it online. Featured diamond of the week at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. And Harold, it's over a carat meaning it's a big diamond. What info can you give us on this diamond?
Well, orange diamonds are ridiculously rare. First of all, a diamond turns orange because nitrogen seeps into the ground and changes the diamond from white to orange. I mean, that only happens with very, very few diamonds. Blue diamonds, the same thing happens because boron, the mineral boron, will seep into the ground and actually change the diamond from white to blue. And the prices, when a diamond turns orange or green or blue or red, the prices are astronomical. The difference between a white diamond and an extremely rare orange, even though yellow diamonds and orange diamonds both turn yellow and orange because of nitrogen, orange is a much rarer diamond at this time. So this is an extremely rare diamond. Number one, the carat weight. It's huge. It's a 1.19 carat weight. It's a cushion cut, which makes the diamond look even larger. And then the color of it is absolutely ridiculous. It's a fancy, vivid orange yellow, and it's internally flawless. It's one of the most beautiful diamonds you'll ever see. It's internally flawless. It's got a huge saturation, which makes it even more valuable. It's just an outstanding diamond. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the show, we actually look for trends, not only in commodities and in other financial areas, but also in diamonds. The trend for blue diamonds has been probably the biggest increase in diamonds that we have ever seen in the history of the diamond market. In fact, in just the past 10 to 12 years, vivid blue diamonds have gone from 200,000 a carat to over 4 to 5 million a carat. That's how much those diamonds have gone up since 2005 to 2017. I believe we're going to see similar situations happening in pinks, because the mine that produces all the pink diamonds will be gone in 3 years. Argyle mine is going to close down, so we think the price of pinks are going to skyrocket. Then on top of that, you've got greens and oranges. And we're now cutting and mining green diamonds and orange diamonds because we believe that is the next major trend, and we believe that we can buy them at a good enough price at this point that 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, these diamonds are substantially higher than what you paid for them. And the beautiful thing about the diamond market, it's an asset that you own. It's yours. You could take it anywhere you want with them. It's portable private wealth. It is one of the rarest and most amazing assets that you could ever own. They never decline in value. The longer you hold them, the more and more they would go up in value. We've relayed that several times, with Sean Connery's diamond and all the diamonds that were sold last year. Shirley Temple's diamond that was purchased for $7,100 back in 1940 and sold for $25 million in 2016. So again, these are assets that you should own. You should put them away for your future. They'll do way better than your retirement savings plans, which don't make any money. On top of that, diamonds can be sold in other currencies. If you look at the featured diamond on rarecoloreddiamonds.com, you're also going to see some extremely rare orange diamonds. You're going to see a diamond that was 2 carats. It's rough, so it's the way it came out of the ground. It's a fancy orange. It's like nothing you have ever seen before. So not only do we deal in cut and polished finished diamonds, and we do have also own Diamanti Atelier, which is our jewelry division. We own over 3,000 museum-quality pieces of diamonds and other jewelry. We also own the last 6 pieces of Elizabeth Taylor's estate. But one of our major businesses is mining rough diamonds, rough-colored diamonds, and that is one of the programs that we allow our clients to invest in with us. So if you go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com and go to the menu on the right-hand side and click on the menu, one of the things you'll see is the featured diamond. Look at the featured diamond this week and see one of the most amazing diamonds you've ever seen. But then look at the fancy, vivid orange diamonds and see a rough, uncut 2 carat that is one of the rarest diamonds in the world. So, you couldn't pick a better time to be involved in the hard asset market. The other thing is that diamonds can be sold in other currencies. Right now, because we're in the United States, I'm a Canadian working and living in the U.S., we price diamonds in U.S. dollars, which is a huge benefit to our clients. However, if all of a sudden the euro or the British pound or another currency was a stronger currency, we could literally sell that diamond outside of the United States or Canada. The other thing is that it's a hedge against bad things happening in the currency markets. As I mentioned before, in 2016, Brexit happening, which was Britain exiting the European Union, and in 1 hour of that decision, their currency dropped by 25%. But if they had some of their assets in an asset like a diamond or rare art or something along that line, you're looking that never ever would have happened, because they don't respond to situations like commodities or stocks or paper assets do. So it's really with the way the world is right now, and the fear that I just brought up before of the potential confrontation with the United States protecting Japan and South Korea against North Korea, these are the type of assets you want to own. So again, at this particular point, the featured diamond is one of the most beautiful diamonds you'll ever see. It's one of the rarest diamonds we've ever seen because it's internally flawless and vivid orange yellow. But again, pink diamonds from the Argyle mine, blue diamonds, and now green and orange diamonds are the biggest trends in the market, and those are the areas that will make you the most amount of money.
Featured Diamond of the Week. See it online, rarecolordiamonds.com, featured diamond, 1.19 carat cushion cut, fancy, vivid, orange, yellow, internally flawless. See it at rarecolordiamonds.com. If you'd like to learn more about investing in a diamond like the one we're featuring, or other programs that Harold has, where you can be making money today instead of sitting in a GIC or in a savings account making less than 1%, call Harold, 1-800-432-1022, the website rarecolorediamonds.com. And I went back because I knew our featured diamond was orange. And I went back and took a look in the archives. And it was interesting to note, in November of 2013, so just a few years ago, there was a 14.82 carat orange diamond that sold for a world record of $35.5 million. The largest fancy vivid orange diamond to ever appear at auction, shattered a world record as it sold for $35.5 million at Christie's Geneva Magnificent Jewel Sale. And the estimate on it was $21 million. It was the last of 286 lots that were up for sale at the auction held at the Four Seasons Hotel in De Bruges. It set the world record for a fancy, vivid orange diamond at $2.3 million, almost $2.4 million per carat. It also set a world record price per carat for any colored diamond sold at auction at that time. Time and again, a stone will appear on the market that is truly a miracle of nature, according to Francois Curiel, the international head of Christie's Jewelry Department. The 14.82 carat orange diamond was one such stone, a rare gem which will perhaps only be seen once in a lifetime. And it really soared above all predictions for any orange diamond ever sold at auction, placing the orange among the greatest pinks and blues, which are traditionally the most appreciated colored diamonds. The bidding opened at 10 million Swiss francs and quickly reached 20 million Swiss francs before the bidding slowed, and the increments of bids switched from 1 million francs to $500,000. It appeared on Christie's live internet feed that several bidders were in the room competing with those on the phones, and the applause obviously was very loud when the winning bid came in at 29 million francs. 31.6 million, the final total, close to $36 million, including fees and commissions. And they say without a doubt, the diamond simply known as the orange is one of the rarest orange diamonds on the planet, and it is just a very special diamond. But I wanted to revisit that, Harold, as a reminder, because here we have a fancy, vivid orange, yellow, internally flawless. So when you get into the oranges, even oranges with other hues, these are very rare and much coveted at auction.
You better believe it. Again, very, very seldom will you ever see a diamond like this. That's why I can say that a diamond like this will never, ever decline in value. It is so ridiculously rare. Number one, just to get an orange diamond or a diamond with orange in it. This happens to be, it's not an orangey yellow or a yellowish orange. This is a vivid orange-yellow diamond. That means that both colors are predominant, but again, you're talking about vivid, so it's got the highest saturation of color and then the best clarity. So again, a diamond like this is just off the charts rare. Most people have never ever seen an orange diamond or even knew that orange diamonds exist, but they do. They're extremely rare, and they're one of the best investments you could ever make.
One of the things that we've spoken about in the past, and Harold touched on it, is obviously the blue diamond that was up for sale at auction last year from the estate of Shirley Temple. And it was purchased in 1940 for around $7,000 from her father, and then eventually sold for $25 million over 70 years later. But it's interesting to note, and I wanted to remind people of this, on November 10, 2015, Sean Connery, he actually had collected some rare colored diamonds, and they were sold at Sotheby's. And he actually had a pendant for $4 million that sold, a diamond pendant for $4 million, about twice its upper estimate, setting what Sotheby's described as a record bid for a fancy orange pink diamond. So that's a fancy orange pink. And also there was a 15.20 carat piece which sold at the auctioneer's Magnificent Jewels and Noble Jewels tender in Geneva at $266,000 per carat. It was slated to sell for $1.2 million to $2.2 million. The former James Bond movie star also sold a 5.18 carat pear-shaped diamond ring, which went for $250,000. The estimate on it had been $145,000. But you can see, Harold, when you get into diamonds that have a bit of a famous provenance, you're in a situation where, as you have those historic diamonds from Liz Taylor, you're into another realm when you're dealing with the Shirley Temples and the Sean Connerys, because not only is the diamond rare as it is, but it's historic because it was owned by somebody so well known as a Sean Connery, who will go down in history as James Bond. You add on Liz Taylor, a major icon, Shirley Temple, an icon. So it's going to be very exciting when you bring to auction the piece that you plan on using for auction from Liz Taylor and her collection that you picked up.
You better believe it. I'm very excited about that. We're just starting to load the catalog next week. So by the end of this month, by the end of March, we will have our new auction site up. And we're extremely excited, actually ecstatic, to introduce our new auction. So we will have some magnificent diamonds, some beautiful rings. We have Elizabeth Taylor's brooch and a picture of Elizabeth Taylor wearing that brooch, so there's a provenance. On top of that, we've got some amazing coins. We've got a one-of-one watch, men's watch that's coming up. It's going to be a phenomenal week-long auction that you have to attend. So as soon as the catalog is up, we will send out all the details to everybody, and we're going to advertise it substantially. And we're just really excited to be able to bring our new auction site to the world and see how we do with it. So, again, we'll certainly let you know when that's happening, but there is going to be some pieces up there that defy description. There's a watch that's a one-on-one. It's a gold watch. It's magnificent, but the big piece is obviously Elizabeth Taylor's brooch, and I've got a picture of Elizabeth Taylor wearing it. So, all in all, we're ecstatic about what's going on with us in our business, and all we want is for our clients to do extremely well.
If you would like to learn more about the programs Harold has in place, where you can partner with him and start making money immediately, connect with Harold. 1-800-432-1022. RareColoredDiamonds.com is the website. Our featured diamond, call Harold for more information, is a 1.19 carat cushion cut, fancy vivid orange, yellow, internally flawless. This is a museum piece, and you can see diamonds that are held over the long term do so very well. We saw that with the diamond from Shirley Temple. Also in 1960, there was a diamond called the Princey, a pink diamond. It sold for $70,000 at Sotheby's in London. The buyer was Van Cleef & Arpels, which threw a party attended by the Maharani of Baroda and her 14-year-old son, whose nickname was Princey. The diamond was named after the youth. Now, in April of 2013, Princey sold for, get ready here now, at Christie's in New York, $39.3 million. So a similar scenario, 1960 to 2013, $39.3 million from $70,000. And it's one to keep an eye on. Another item that we talked about in the past is the Cartier Devant de Corsage brooch. It realized a staggering $17.5 million a few years ago, a 660% increase, having first sold for $2.65 million at Christie's Geneva back in 1991. And between the years 2002 and 2010, the index for diamonds from the Argyle Pink Diamonds tender increased 108%, while white diamonds rose 22%, according to Josephine Johnson of the Argyle Pink Diamond mine, obviously, and tender. She is the manager. And one of the most famous diamonds that we have touched on in the past, in 1980, the highest auction price paid for a diamond was $127,000 a carat for a 7.27 pink diamond. That record was shattered in 1987 by the first high-quality red diamond to be sold at auction. It was a .95 carat Hancock red. It sold for close to $1 million a carat. The Hancock red was sold by the heirs of the American owner, Warren Hancock, a Montana rancher and diamond collector. Now, he picked up all of his diamonds at retail prices from his local jeweler and reportedly paid $13,500 for the close to 1 carat red diamond in 1956. It's fair to say this is one of the greatest gemstone investments in the history of diamond investing. 1956, about $13,500 to roughly $1 million in 1987. Harold, I just love the buy and hold aspect of this market. Make an investment, tuck it away. Maybe you want to put it in jewelry and wear it. That's okay too. You can even give it a name if you want. But this is the exciting part of this market. When you give it time and you have a special diamond, the sky can potentially be the limit, especially when you're getting into the pinks, the Argyle pinks. When that mine shuts down, it's really going to be very exciting to see where the prices go.
You better believe it. But again, as far as I'm concerned, there's only one way that the market can go, is up, because that mine, the Argyle mine, produces 95% of the world's pinks, and it's going to be gone. So what's going to be left? 5% of the other 5% becomes 100%. So all pink diamonds at this particular point are looking like they're going to increase, but there are certain diamonds that will actually increase much more than other diamonds, depending on the color of it, how deep the color is. Like if it's a vivid versus a light, obviously the saturation of the color has a lot to do with it. So we're just very excited about what's happening in the diamond market. We have our auction coming up this month. We're going to have auctions every single month. We are going to bring to you some of the most amazing investment opportunities that you've ever seen. We're going to give you an opportunity to get out of Canadian dollars and into U.S. dollars. We're going to give you an opportunity to invest in some of our private programs that pay 24% or more a year in U.S. dollars. So, again, as difficult as things seem to be in the financial world, we've simplified things, and you need to give us a call. Doesn't matter how much money you have to invest. Give me a call, and I'll try to make the proper recommendations to you and try to get you into the right opportunities at the right time.
The question is, how do you invest today so you can retire comfortably tomorrow? And that's why we do the radio show. Call and speak with Harold. As he said, he speaks to 40 to 60 radio listeners every week. He'll be happy to speak with you. Call him, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. The website is rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. And some of the things you can ask Harold about, Bill C-15, what does that mean for Canadian investors? Also, negative interest rates. What does that mean for us here in Canada? A weak Canadian dollar, the housing market across Canada, in particular, though, Toronto, which continues to be very, very bubbly, and Vancouver, which is somewhat stabilized, and a cashless society. What will that all mean for us? They're really pushing people in India away from money and trying to go to a cashless society, and those in India are not impressed. They like their hard assets like gold. One of the great quotes this week from Melvin Curdley from Tiffany & Company. You can find it in our free weekly newsletter. Colored diamonds are even rarer than colorless diamonds. And when you get into colors like pink or very intense shades of pink or green or blue or even red, which is very, very rare, that amount that is available in the world is next to nothing. There are more Picassos in the world than there are colored diamonds. The rarity is enormous, so the value is incredible. Richard Russell, he wrote the Dow Theory letters for well over 50 years, passed away at the age of 91 a few years ago. He was someone that we loved and followed his writings. He said another high-class area of transportable tangibles is diamonds. You can transport $10 million worth of diamonds in the cuff of your trousers. Obviously, we advocate everything being done above board and legally, but when you get into a potential get-out-of-Dodge scenario, diamonds are very transportable, and it's an investment that is a must-have. And then you have Mae West, who said, I never worry about diets. The only carats that interest me are the number you get in a diamond. And Harold, we have here about 2 minutes left. We'll give you a chance to summarize the U.S. dollar. Obviously, we believe it's going up versus the Canadian dollar. The Fed in the United States raising rates during the week. They are now in the United States a half a point ahead interest rate-wise than we are here in Canada.
Very, very true. There's no doubt that if we're going to get at least 2 more interest rate hikes this year and more in 2018, then the trend is for the U.S. dollar to go higher. I just don't see anything that's going to interfere with that for quite a long time. We're in a massive bull market in the U.S. dollar. It started in 2011 when it was at 72.5 cents, and it's moved 30 cents higher. That is a massive move, and by far the best is yet to come. We've got a raging U.S. dollar that's going to go substantially higher, and we need to take advantage of that. On the other end of it, we've got the Canadian dollar going to do the opposite, going to go substantially lower, and we need to get out of those and into a stronger U.S. dollar. Let me explain to you how that happens. Give me a call. I'll spend as much time with you as you need, and I'm looking forward to helping you get back on the path of making money.
Thank you very much, Harold Siegel, for your knowledge and another outstanding show.
It is my pleasure. I wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
Featured Diamond of the Week from rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1.19 carat cushion cut, fancy, vivid, orange, yellow, internally flawless. Speak with Harold Siegel. See the diamond at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured Diamond of the Week. Remember, you can get our free weekly newsletter. We send it out via email free of charge every week. It's absolutely free. If you ever miss a radio show, they're archived on Harold's 2 websites, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, HESradio.com, and Harold is there for you. If you have any questions at all about the financial markets, he'll be happy to take your call and spend time with you. You can speak with him personally, and it is confidential. 1-800-432-1022, the website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. That's it, another edition of the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.